The text appears, Understanding the Canadian Language Benchmarks. A classroom instructor boils water for her coffee at home, then walks outside to her car. The text appears, Some of the people who appear in this video are actors. The text appears, A framework for helping newcomers to Canada succeed. The instructor gets into her car and drives away from her home.
My name is Sue, and I'm an English as a second language teacher. I teach adults in language instruction for newcomers to Canada, or LINK.
The instructor teaches to a classroom filled with students.
Some of my colleagues teach French as a second language, which is called Cours de langue pour les immigrants au Canada, or CLIC. My students are a mix of newcomers. Some have just arrived in Canada, while others have been here a bit longer.
A woman hands over a paper to a receptionist.
Some need help improving their English to get a job or to prepare for more specific skills training.
Students are shown working in a classroom.
Others want to learn how to navigate everyday interactions like
A male customer is shown at a bank. The scene quickly fades to a different man getting a checkup by his doctor.
visiting the bank or going to a doctor's appointment. Developing language skills
The instructor shown earlier walks in the hallway at her school.
is very important for settling and integrating into Canadian life. That's where teachers like me can help.
The scene fades to her writing the words class outline on a whiteboard.
LINK students learn language skills that will help them live, work, and thrive in their community.
Her students are shown concentrating in their assignments and interacting with her.
But how they learn is just as important as what they learn. They work through course materials that have been developed using the Canadian Language Benchmarks Framework, which we usually call CLB. The CLB is a national standard for planning course content for English as a second language instruction. It provides a framework for learning, teaching, and assessing adult learners. The benchmarks identify levels on the continuum of language ability.
A grid appears including 4 rows, listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Along the top are 3 columns, Stage 1, Stage 2, and Stage 3. Each stage is split into 4 columns. Stage 1 shows columns numbered 1 to 4. Stage 2 shows columns 5 to 8. Stage 3 shows columns 9 to 12. A single colored block appears in each row, indicating a level of competency for each particular skill. The white blocks move from left to right.
There are 12 CLB benchmarks in each of the 4 language skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. These benchmarks describe competencies and tasks that demonstrate English language knowledge of immigrants living and working in Canada. They are arranged in 3 stages, from basic to intermediate to advanced. Each learner may have a different CLB level for each language skill.
The instructor and the class reappear.
Evaluating language in a framework like this helps students to be placed in programs at the right level. They can plan their language learning, set their goals, and monitor their progress. It also helps teachers easily see where their students are at and how they're doing.
People are shown outside shopping and taking the bus.
Watching their skills improve along a consistent path. The course materials are designed to be task-based, offering students real-life, relevant, and meaningful activities to help them learn English.
Students are shown happily working in the classroom.
My French colleagues who teach CLIC use course materials that have been developed using the Niveau de compétences linguistiques canadien, or NCLC, which are similar to the English benchmarks,
The instructor leaves the school and goes back home.
but based on the French language.
She sits down, puts on her glasses, and writes notes.
In some ways, I'm a student too. I regularly improve my skills by taking training courses to study new materials and practices based on the CLB framework. I learn how to plan lessons and evaluate language skills in a way that makes sure my students can transition smoothly from my classes
A service provider converses with the instructor online through a webcam.
to other programs or institutions.
The instructor continues to take notes based on her conversation with the service provider.
I also have access to a wide range of resources that I can order, download, or learn via webinar.
Hi, my name is Jen, and I host professional development webinars. Link instructors from across the country use my webinars to better understand the concepts and structure of the CLB framework and how to apply it to what they do. The CLB standard provides a national framework for describing and measuring the English language abilities of learners. So I show them how to use its structure to prepare lesson plans, adapt materials, teach and assess students consistently.
4 icons appear. On the top left is an icon showing 2 people talking. Below is the title Speaking and the subheading I can ask and answer many simple questions. On the top right is an icon showing 1 person talking and another listening. Below is the title Listening and the subheading I can understand a conversation on a familiar topic when you speak slowly. On the bottom left is an icon with an open book. Below is the title Reading and the subheading I can read simple news items. On the bottom right is an icon of a pencil and paper. Below this is the title Writing and the subheading I can write a short message.
For example, if a student's goal is to achieve a minimum CLB4 in listening and speaking skills to apply for citizenship, the can-do statements for this level are a useful reference. Or if a student wants to develop more complex language skills as part of a highly skilled profession, the framework provides a common, transparent base for all instructors to assess a student's language skills and abilities and tailor training to suit their needs.
A male language instructor leaves an elevator,
Gaining a better understanding of the CLB framework
enters an office, and greets a female student.
helps language teachers appreciate the role they play in their students' outcomes. And some instructors may also develop course content.
They enter a boardroom and meet an employer.
My name is Kareem, and I'm a language teacher who specializes in creating workplace-based language training.
They begin a conversation as the language instructor types on his laptop.
I work with employers and their employees to develop and then deliver classes that are specific to a workplace. I'm a first-generation immigrant. My family arrived in Canada when I was 13. When I talk to clients about the CLB, I introduce it as a national framework, and I can speak about its value from 2 perspectives, from the point of view of a newcomer and from the point of view of a language teacher. When my family and I came here, my brothers and I fell in love with Canada and quickly picked up English in school.
The instructor and student leave the room and have a conversation in a separate room.
But for newcomers, adjusting to a new home and learning a new language can be hard. Today, I develop workplace language training. The goal is to help people understand each other better at work. I customize the course content and exercises to address areas that may be challenging for some newcomers. Many employees who take these courses are new to Canada and need to improve their language skills so that they can communicate better.
The student is shown working at her computer.
Our Canadian values, culture, and history are new to them. Things many of us take for granted, like learning health and safety rules or understanding and using work-related vocabulary.
The instructor takes the elevator to a separate office.
Newcomers often need help to navigate these tasks and situations. Or they may need to improve their English skills to be able to do more
He
complex
begins
tasks at
working
work.
on his laptop.
That's where my experience with the CLB framework comes full circle.
The scene cuts back to the female instructor in her classroom.
I lean on its structure and guidelines to help me develop workplace training programs. For employers, the goal is to build a strong workforce to compete in today's economy. But from a personal experience, I know that newcomer employees and society benefit too.
Brief scenes of the service provider, male instructor, and student appear.
Because communities are stronger when everyone is engaged, connected, and well integrated.
The instructors and service provider smile at the camera.
That's why the CLBs are so important to newcomers.
And to teachers.
And to Canada, the CLBs are a framework for success. Because when immigrants succeed, Canada wins.
The scene fades to black. The text appears on the screen, Canadian Language Benchmarks Framework, followed by the website URL canada.ca/immigration.
To get a copy of the CLB framework, go to canada.ca/immigration. Learn more about the Centre for Canadian Language Benchmarks at language.ca.
New text appears. The Centre for Canadian Language Benchmarks, followed by the URL language.ca.
Or join the community of practice and download resources when you register
The URL tutela.ca appears on screen.
at tutela.ca.
The Federal Identity for Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada appears, followed by the text, Copyright Her Majesty the Queen and Right of Canada, represented by Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada 2019. The Canada logo appears.